So my question is, like, got a great looking dude here. You know, he's got the world really, you know, at his fingertips. He's aligned with his purpose. He's aligned with what, you know, God is trying to do in his life. Like, where did the want to share your struggles with pornography with the world come from?
Man, you know, it was a hard decision, and it wasn't easy to do. It took a lot of intentionality. And as I got back to the core of what has God created me to be, and trying to be more introspective and analyze. And as a man, for me, I tend to not really think about my thoughts, my feelings, and my emotions. I just want to go do. And I felt God remind me, man, I've given you a voice. I've created you to impact people. And as I begin to believe that and see the realm of my influence and my sphere of influence grow, I wanted to give back. I mean, you hear guys just like The Rock and others say, hey, you know, give back as you grow up and as you level up. And I thought, what would that look like for me? What was the biggest thing that wounded me, that caused me insecurity, that caused me struggle? Man, it was my addiction to porn and my shame connected to that, and my inability to tell people because I was worried about what they thought. But I look at guys like you. I didn't know you at the time, but I look at guys who were willing to be vulnerable and express what was going on in their life and say how they either were through it or they were believing to get through it. And that made me realize that, man, I now have that same voice. I can do that. There's boys watching, there's men watching, there's kids, there's women, there's desperate women, wives who are so desperate to see breakthrough in their husband because their marriage is being destroyed. Man, in 2016, I shared my testimony with a few of my friends that had followed me to Ninja Warrior and were in my support crowd. I had like 40 people in the crowd, like one of the biggest crowds they'd ever had on Ninja Warrior. And they all just decided to come. I didn't even invite them. And that gave me the spotlight on an episode. So we're driving home and I'm thanking them for being there. And they asked me, you know, what's your story, Nate? And I ended up telling them my story on pornography and struggle and breakthrough and where God freed me. And dude, both of these women began weeping. They both lost their marriages because the men they were married to refused to battle the addiction of porn and how it destroyed their marriage. And they both said, it's not possible to beat it. So just accept me for who I am. And that shifted something in my mind, because when these women are crying, saying, Nate, I've never met a guy who has shared his story with porn in a way that he's overcome it. So now I know it's possible, because my ex-husband had convinced me that it's not possible to break through. That triggered something in me saying, man, I've got to get over the fear of sharing this because I'm ashamed to talk about it. I don't want to be known as some porn guy. I'm in a high performance corporate world with like CEOs and executives. I don't want to be the guy saying, hey, have you seen this dude's YouTube video talking about porn? Like, that was a career ruiner for me. But because a few years before I had decided I will walk away from this job if that's what God calls me to do, then now I don't need this thing. I don't need this job. I don't need this status. So I'm willing to speak truth. And it's been a journey, because I can say that from confidence now, but man, it's hard. Like making that post. I made a post on Facebook, on Instagram and Twitter talking about porn, the harmful side effects of it and some of its impact on my life. And man, it got huge traction, but I was so scared to do that. But it was just like step by step. I'm exposing myself a little more. I'm seeing people share how it was impacting their life, just like other people's lives that impacted mine. And that's fueled my fire to say, yes, I will step out. And that was part of me leaving my corporate gig to say, you know what? I don't want something silencing my voice. I want to be able to jump on a podcast or a Zoom with you and share this story, instead of being like, oh man, when one of my executive guys sees this, he's going to say, Nate, we can't have you in our public image and branding anymore because you're out here talking about controversial subjects. And you know, that's not appropriate in the boardroom. I'm like, screw that. I want to see breakthrough in people's lives, and I don't want to be held back and suppressed.